In a moment that insiders now say may have shifted the entire tone of a high-stakes diplomatic meeting, Melania Trump leaned in and whispered just 5 words to Donald before he stepped out to greet a line of world leaders. Those words, though simple, reportedly cut through the noise and set the stage for what followed. As cameras flashed and the headlines focused on Donald's bold gestures and unpredictable remarks, it was Melania, poised, calm, unreadable, who played a quiet but powerful role behind the scenes. She wasn't there just as a first lady. She was there as an operator. Observers noted her body language throughout the summit, measured glances, subtle nods, and one defining moment where she briefly touched his arm before he stepped forward. In a city of masks and protocol, it was those 5 words that told the real story, and now they've finally been revealed. No one thought Donald Trump would do what he is doing now. Even Donald Trump's closest friends didn't see this coming. He has changed his focus from politics to a quieter, more measured campaign of building a legacy and fixing his problems. People in the know are speculating about what Trump will do next in the escalating conflict in the Middle East. Still, he has been spending more time behind closed doors at MaraLago and his newly fortified private residence in Bedminster, not only planning with his advisors, but also reconnecting with Melania in a way that has caught them off guard. According to people close to the couple, the First Lady is now a quiet yet strong figure in Trump's inner circle, offering advice that is more personal than political. She was once seen as far removed from politics. Reports say that Trump's recent talks have been less aggressive and more thoughtful, even nostalgic, since they got back together. He has also been reviewing his presidential files and selecting times that he thinks history will remember differently. He has also commissioned a documentary-style series to alter the story in a way that suits his needs. The entire world is waiting for Trump to issue the following executive order or make a move on foreign policy. But he's thinking about something bigger: how he'll be remembered. It's not the Trump of 2016 or even 2020. One secret moment at a time, a man is changing his story. Trump's private moment with Baron, a rare look at a father and son. Donald Trump recently spent the weekend at Trump Tower with his youngest son, Baron. It was a rare and powerful moment away from the cameras and crowds, and family members say it was more than just a family check-in. He is now 19 years old and a junior at New York University's Stern School of Business. But on March 20th, his birthday, Trump flew in from MaraLago to spend time with him. It was one of the rare occasions when the president attended a personal event without a political purpose. Close friends say that the two had a secret dinner together in the apartment. During dinner, Trump allegedly discussed his youth, failed businesses, and the stress of having to have legacy talks that he doesn't usually have, not even with his older children. The event was especially moving because Amalia Naves, Melania's mother, had just died. She had been a driving force in Baron's life and a big reason why he decided to study in New York. Trump, who is known for having a big personality, seemed calm and thoughtful. He told his staff that Baron reminded him of a younger, sharper version of myself. Baron doesn't have a political role, but his growing influence in the Trump family's business and digital ventures suggests that this father-son bond may shape more than just personal memories. It could be the start of a new Trump chapter. The most fun grandpa ever from Trump's grandchildren. Behind the tall podiums and presidential bravado, Donald Trump has a surprisingly fun role in his family. His 11 grandkids, who range in age from baby to 18, call him the most fun grandpa ever. In 2025, Tiffany Trump gave birth to a baby boy named Alexander Trump Boulos. This has made the Trump family tree even more colorful, and people who know the president say he has taken on the role of grandpa with a surprising amount of love and fun. Kai Madison Trump, now 18 years old and a confident public speaker, famously said that her grandpa is the one who sneaks them candy and soda when their parents aren't looking at the RNC in 2024. Her cousins agreed with her. Trump is said to have grandkid weekends at MaraLago, which include golf cart races, movie nights featuring his favorite classics, and speaking sessions where he recounts stories about his business successes and campaign victories, often with the style of a Marvel movie arc. His grandchildren see a different side of him than the critics who focus on his political legacy. They see a man who is fiercely loyal, always ready with a joke or a surprise, and always willing to make time for birthday calls, school event shout-outs, and even the occasional TikTok cameo, though he insists on calling it Trump Talk. He's not just a past and present president to them, he's Grandpa Don, the old man from their family stories. What Trump said before his famous speech caught on tape. Donald Trump leaned toward Melania right before he stood up to give his second inaugural speech on January 20th, 2025. He said something in a whisper that a hot mic just barely picked up. This time, we finish what we started. That simple yet powerful phrase has become a rallying cry within his inner circle, representing a more focused and deliberate Trump 2.0. The speech itself was full of big promises. He said he would stop turning the government into a weapon, restore American freedom, and start what he called the Golden Age of America. But it was that off-script moment that showed what kind of person he was. Backstage staff said that Trump was surprisingly calm before the speech. He looked over his notes quietly and didn't seem to care about the last-minute changes that were made. Reports say that Melania, who was wearing a stylish blue outfit, gave him a thumbs up just before he left. This was a rare public display of unity that garnered considerable attention. Even though the word wasn't meant for the cameras, it said everything you needed to know about Trump's return. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a mission. Since then, the word has been subtly used in campaign materials and even on Trump media-branded limited edition merchandise. Fans see it as more than just a quote. It's a promise. It also sends a message to Trump's critics that his second term won't be a rerun, but a reckoning. The camera got the whisper, but history may make it sound stronger. The real deal on Trump's morning routine in office. By mid-2025, Donald Trump's presidential rhythm had settled into a blend of old habits and fresh discipline. At 78, he continued sleeping just 4 to 5 hours nightly, a trait carried over from his first term. His mornings now began at the White House, each day kicked off with a Diet Coke. Sources confirm he still drinks up to 12 cans daily, and a review of tailored news updates and polling data. While fast food remains part of his brand, insiders note that he has made efforts to include grilled fish, light soups, and salads in his meals, though not quite embracing a complete Mediterranean diet. Weight loss reports indicate a 30-pound drop since early 2024, attributed to minor dietary adjustments and consistent golf sessions, now regarded as both a sport and a diplomatic tool. Breakfast is often skipped or substituted with something simple, such as eggs, bacon, or nothing at all, with no verified mention of protein shakes. Meetings with media strategists, policy advisors, and senior aides fill the early hours, reinforcing Trump's drive for narrative control. Though critics call his schedule chaotic, his staff describes it as purposeful, a mix of nostalgia, preparation, and assertiveness aimed not just at governing, but at shaping how history will remember him. A rare look at Trump's life at MaraLago, what he does when he's not on camera. Behind the golden walls of MaraLago in 2025, Donald Trump's life is a carefully planned mix of rituals, reflection, and starting over. Insiders say Trump has created a more private routine that is very different from his public displays of confidence. The estate remains a draw for politicians and famous individuals. Every morning, he goes for a walk alone on the eastern field of the estate, usually with Baron or a close assistant by his side. It's there that he reads over writing notes and voice memos from the day before. Since their quiet fight in April, Trump's public appearances with Elon Musk have decreased. He now chooses smaller, more intimate groups for his evening dinners, which are often held in the Versailles Room, featuring dim lighting and strict no-phone rules. Melania has become more involved in the estate's design and has been in charge of improvements that combine the grandeur of Palm Beach with the elegance of Europe. In his free time, Trump watches videos for his future docuseries and selects older clips that he believes reveal the real story. He's also been known to hold quiz nights with staff and family members, testing their knowledge of American history and his legacy. While Trump's foes speculate about his next political move, people inside MaraLago say he is focused on leaving a legacy, not seeking the spotlight. Instead of a retreat, it's a chance to start over, and every hallway lit by chandeliers sounds like a man rewriting his last act. This is still on his desk, and the story behind it will move you. In Donald Trump's newly remodeled Oval Office, a framed black and white picture of his late older sister, Marianne Trump Barry, stands out. It's not because it's fancy, but because it has a lot of emotional weight. The federal judge, who passed away in 2023, was known for being exceptionally intelligent and reserved, and she often shied away from the political press. But for Trump, she was a rock, and her support was more important than any poll number. The picture was taken at a family reunion in Queens in the 1980s. It shows Marianne with a rare smile, holding hands with a younger Donald. Aides say Trump chose the picture for his desk himself after she died, calling it a reminder of where I came from and who kept me honest. It sits next to a stack of handwritten notes she sent him during his first campaign that were short and to the point. The photo was carefully moved to the temporary C&O desk while the Resolute desk was taken away for cleaning earlier this year. People who visit often don't notice it, but when they do, the president occasionally opens up. Today, there are numerous power plays and political theatrics. This quiet honor shows who the man is behind the title. Still a brother, still remembering, touched. A hidden lens caught Trump's quiet visits to family graves. In April 2025, Donald Trump was captured quietly visiting his family's small grave at All Faiths Cemetery in Queens, New York. This was a time when the media wasn't busy with other stories. This rare, unplanned stop gave people a glimpse of a side of the president that few have the opportunity to see. During the visit, Trump stood alone in front of the graves of his parents, Fred and Marianne, and his brother Fred Jr., without any security, the press, or political theater. A long-range lens caught the scene from a nearby balcony. He allegedly stayed at the graveyard for almost 40 minutes, talking out loud and putting one white rose on each headstone. He was wearing a dark jacket and a red tie. A longtime staff member stated that the visit was prompted by the occasion of his father's death and a recent conversation with Baron about family history. The moment was very personal, and the pictures were never made public. However, they were secretly shared online among fans, which caused a lot of emotional reactions. Even though Melania didn't go with him, she was said to have pushed for the trip as a way for him to reconnect with his roots while dealing with the stresses of his second term. For a man known for getting people to do things and making news, this one act of remembering revealed something more lasting. A leader facing his past, not with swagger, but with respect. It was a rare moment of stillness in a life full of movement. A promise Trump made to his late brother has now been made public. Trump shared a very personal promise he made to his late brother, Fred Jr., during an interview on the Pod Force One show in 2025. Trump's brother Fred Jr.'s fight with drinking and unexpected death in 1981 left a lasting impression on Trump. Trump said that Fred had told him in the last few months of his brother's life to never let the name be wasted. Trump says that Fred's words inspired him to make the Trump brand a worldwide force. Not until now, though, did anyone know that Trump made a promise in his ashes to use his fame one day for more than just business, to change American society and values in a way that would make his brother happy. Trump says that promise is what made him decide to run for president 3 times, in 2016, 2020, and 2024. He now carries around a small silver coin in his pocket that is etched with Fred's letters and the words, "Stay the course." It's a secret way for him to remember his promise. Aides say that Trump frequently touches the coin before significant events or statements, such as his second inauguration. Many people think it's just a sign, but those close to him say it's one of the few things that can calm the room before he speaks. For Trump, it's not just politics, it's also about his reputation and family. What Trump's childhood home says about the man now. The Tudor-style home that Donald Trump grew up in Jamaica Estates, Queens, was quietly sold for just $835,000. This represented a significant drop from its $2.14 million price tag in 2017 and fell far short of the luxury for which the Trump brand is known today. The house where Trump lived until he was 4 years old was in bad shape, full of stray cats, and it lost its charm. It was a strange contrast to the man who would later build golden towers and become famous around the world. The sale wasn't just a piece of real estate for Trump. It was a big deal. Insiders say that he refused to repurchase the property despite a 2021 crowdfunding effort that sought to give it back to him. He told his staff, "That house made me, but it doesn't define me." This reveals a notable shift in Trump's narrative. He talks less about his background and more about what he has accomplished since then. Still, the picture of his old, falling-apart childhood home, which was once listed on Airbnb with a sign stating it was probably where he was born, remains with him as a memory of his impoverished beginnings and the unwavering drive that propelled him to succeed. The quiet ruin of that house tells a different story, one of roots, rebirth, and what it costs to leave the past behind during a presidency that was full of show. The real story behind Trump's surprise gift to a former rival. During a private meeting at MaraLago in February 2025, Donald Trump offered Nikki Haley, a former GOP primary opponent, a way to make peace by giving her a signed first edition copy of The Art of the Deal. This move shocked both supporters and critics. Insiders said the gift, which came just a few weeks after Haley publicly supported Trump's second-term plans after years of political tension, was unexpectedly warm and deeply symbolic. The book, which said, "To Nikki, we fought hard, now we build harder," was given to her in a velvet-lined case with a handwritten note thanking her for putting country before ego. The moment was a turning point in their relationship, which had been tense since the 2024 primaries when Haley spoke out against Trump's leadership style. Aides said that Melania set up the meeting. As part of Trump's larger legacy plan, she has become more involved in his efforts to reconcile with old adversaries. After the meeting, Haley allegedly told her staff that the gesture meant more than any cabinet offer. The media discussed her possible role in Trump's government, but sources close to both groups say the meeting was less about politics and more about resolving personal issues. In a political world full of insults, Trump's gift was a rare act of kindness that could change how history remembers their feud. The MaraLago secret room and why it's so important. Hidden behind a paneled wall in Donald Trump's private quarters at MaraLago is a room that was once just a repair crawl space, but is become increasingly important to the president. The hidden room was first revealed to the public in early 2024 during an investigation into sensitive papers. It was thought that FBI agents had missed it during their high-profile search, which sparked considerable discussion and mystery. However, people close to Trump claimed that the room, accessible through a hidden door in his bedroom drawer, has never been used to store secret information. Instead, it has been transformed into a private haven where Trump allegedly thinks, writes notes by hand, and keeps things that are private and never made public. A framed letter from his late brother, Fred Jr., a 2016 campaign picture of him and Melania, and a small American flag that flew over the Capitol on the days of his first inauguration were reportedly inside. Staff says he goes to the room almost every day, and he does so alone most of the time. He calls it the vault, not because it is safe, but because it makes him feel so heavy. This secret room gives Trump something he doesn't get much of in his busy life: peace. It's not about keeping things secret, it's about safety, and this room is where he wants to hide for a man who built towers to be seen. What Trump wants people to remember most about his leadership. In 2025, Donald Trump's biggest goal after leaving office isn't a campaign or a policy. It's a legacy project that he wants to make his mark on American history in the way he wants. The vast privately funded project is called the American Renaissance Initiative. It includes a presidential library and museum complex in Palm Beach, a digital record compiled by Trump Media, and a docuseries titled The Builder, which is set to premiere in late 2025. This presidential library will be distinct from others because it will feature hands-on exhibits about Trump's business empire, his 2 terms in office, and his influence on global politics. There will also be a special room for Melania's projects and Baron's growing role in the Trump organization. Trump believes that teaching people how to be entrepreneurs is very important, which is why the plan includes a grant fund for students in business and media. Some people have called it an ego project. Still, Trump's close circle says it's about controlling the narrative so that future generations don't remember his administration through the lens of scandals, but through the accomplishments he thinks were overlooked. The building process commenced in February, and the complex is anticipated to be completed by mid-2026. For Trump, this isn't just about remembering, it's also about writing. He doesn't want scholars to write his story for him. He's setting the scene, writing the chapters, and putting the focus on the times he wants everyone to remember the most. What Trump feels about that pen and why he still wears it. At first view, it looked like a simple accessory, just one more lapel pin in a bunch. However, in June 2025, at the G7 summit in Kananaskis, Canada, Donald Trump appeared wearing a pin that drew attention, an American flag pin with a miniature cartoon version of himself concealed beneath it. Some thought it was just a joke or a way to boost Trump's reputation, but people close to him said it had a more personal start. It was noted that one of Elon Musk's children gave him the pin at a special dinner at MaraLago earlier this year as a gift. Trump is known for having a big personality, but the gesture was said to have touched him deeply. He called it the most honest version of me I've seen. Since then, he has worn it to important events, such as his second inauguration, the swearing-in of Tulsi Gabbard as Director of National Intelligence, and most recently, a meeting with veterans behind closed doors. The pin isn't just a joke for Trump. It's a sign of self-awareness, a nod to the cartoon version of himself that everyone sees and the real person Trump thinks he is. His staff says that he often taps it before giving talks as a quiet way to center himself. In a president known for theatrics, this small symbol has become a rare moment of humor and thought. It shows that even the most divisive people have unexpectedly sentimental items. The side of Trump's faith that you don't see very often. In the year 2025, Donald Trump's faith has become more personal and thoughtful. This is because of both public and private struggles. He has always called himself a non-denominational Christian, but since he survived an attempted murder in 2024, his spiritual journey has grown. He now sees that time as an act of God and a sign from God that his mission is far from over. Trump has increasingly discussed this event in his talks, often stating that he believes God helped him stay alive and find his new purpose. Reports indicate that behind closed doors, he has begun attending small prayer groups at MaraLago, led by his longtime spiritual advisor, Paula White. At these groups, the Bible is not used as a means of political rhetoric, but rather as a source of personal guidance and inspiration. Aides say he keeps a worn-out Bible on his desk that was a gift from his mother. He has highlighted passages in Psalms and Proverbs that he says offer strength and strategy. While some critics question his faith, those close to him say he has become more reflective, often quoting scripture in private meetings and consulting with religious leaders before making significant decisions. In his second term, he has also placed a greater emphasis on policies that protect religious freedom. However, people who work for him say this isn't just about politics. It's personal. For Trump, faith isn't so much about how it looks as it is about securing his reputation in something timeless, unknown, and to him, unquestionable. What Melania Trump is doing now. Quiet strength shown. In 2025, Melania Trump emerged from the shadows of her husband's political fame with a quiet yet forceful presence, building a public image that is both her own and carefully crafted. She only makes a few public appearances a year. Still, each one is carefully planned, as seen when she wears simple yet powerful clothes to state events, or when she surprises the audience by attending the opening night of Les Miserables in Washington, D.C., which was praised for its subtle meaning. Behind the scenes, Melania is executive producing a $40 million Amazon documentary series about her time in the White House and her philosophy. She has called the project My Voice, My Vision. She has also started a new jewelry line and a digital art collection of NFTs with American themes. However, in May, she made the most significant move by pushing for the nonpartisan Take It Down Act, which aims to prevent online abuse and illegal AI-generated content. This is a cause she's taken personally after years of being criticized by the media. Despite her business activities being criticized and raising ethical concerns, Melania remains undeterred. She told Fox News, "I'm standing on my own 2 feet." There is no longer a silent part for her in the Trump legacy. There is now a conscious part. She is changing what it means to be a modern First Lady by being poised and precise. It's less about ceremony and more about control. And that quiet says a lot about how strong she is. Melania's private life at MaraLago, out of the public eye. While the world watches Donald Trump handle his second term in office in 2025, Melania Trump has quietly made her own life behind the fancy walls of MaraLago. She stays out of the political glare and has found a rhythm that includes private self-care and sometimes being seen in public. People who know her say that she often starts her day with a walk through the estate grounds early in the morning. After that, she visits the spa and spends time working on her personal documentary project, which will air on Amazon Prime later this year. Melania sometimes attends public events with Donald, but she much prefers her home in Florida, where she is safe and surrounded by her close group of longtime friends and family. The style of her MaraLago rooms has been updated to feature a more European aesthetic. They are now simple, beautiful, and very different from the club's more flashy decor. She also acts as a guide for young women through a quiet charity project that focuses on self-image and digital literacy. This is a continuation of her earlier Be Best effort. There have been rumors that Melania isn't very close to Washington. Still, people close to the family say she remains a rock for Donald, offering him advice behind closed doors and staying out of the chaos of public politics. She's not just the First Lady at the White House. She's also the creator of her story, choosing how to live and talk, showing that power doesn't always need a stage. How Melania so gracefully balances being a mom and being in the public eye. Melania Trump continues to handle being First Lady and a loving mother in 2025 with the quiet strength that has become her trademark. Although she doesn't go out in public as much as she did during her husband's first term, each appearance is carefully planned and usually addresses issues vital to her, such as protecting children online, supporting military families, and promoting women's health. Behind the scenes, though, she is still very much focused on Baron, who is now a junior at NYU's Stern School of Business and is 19 years old. Even though she is famous and busy, Melania has been a protective figure in her son's life. She often goes to New York for private dinners or invites him to MaraLago for long weekends away from the press. Her recent Mother's Day speech at the White House gave a rare look into her personal life. She discussed how motherhood makes her feel invincible and exposed, a sentiment that resonated with many people. Trump himself praised her parenting, saying she was almost too good at raising Baron. This demonstrates her deep involvement in her child's life, even when things are going poorly in politics. Critics question her limited public role, while allies argue that she is being quiet on purpose because she believes that impact doesn't need to be visible all the time. Melania's beauty doesn't stem from significant actions, but from the fact that she consistently prioritizes her family. In a noisy world, she is still a model of calm confidence. The bond between Melania and Baron, mom-son moments you haven't seen. In 2025, the Trump family is facing the stresses of a second term and the constant scrutiny of the media. However, one relationship remains strong, the one between Melania Trump and her son, Baron. Baron has mostly stayed out of the press since turning 19 and starting his studies at NYU's Stern School of Business. However, people close to the family say that his relationship with Melania has grown stronger. She still spends some time in Washington, D.C. and New York, and she often stays in a private Manhattan apartment to be close to him. This year, on Mother's Day, Melania gave a moving speech at the White House. She said that becoming a mother is a life-changing event that makes women invincible and exposed at the same time, which resonated with many people and gave us a rare glimpse into her personal life. She told him straight out that she still has unimaginable, unpredictable concerns about Baron, even though he is now an adult. Friends say that Melania and Trump are close because she has been a hands-on mom for many years. She famously put off moving into the White House in 2017 so that Baron could finish school in New York, and that protective urge still exists. They talk on the phone in Slovenian late at night and have private dinners away from the cameras. Their relationship is founded on trust, privacy, and a shared understanding of what it's like to live in the public eye. This bond grows not in the big news stories, but in the quiet times that no one sees. The reason why Melania doesn't want to talk about some things. In 2025, Melania Trump's lack of comment on specific public issues isn't a mistake. It's a deliberate strategy based on her personal beliefs, her need to protect others, and her growing awareness of the darker aspects of the digital age. This year, she has been more vocal, most notably by supporting the bipartisan Take It Down Act, which makes it illegal to post non-consensual deepfake images and requires tech companies to remove them promptly. However, Melania is still known for being very cautious about what she discusses in public. Insiders say she won't know anything about the reports circulating, especially those about her son, Baron, because she believes that some stories don't deserve to be told. Her communications director recently made it clear that Melania sees some issues as distractions designed to provoke, and she's not going to let the media use her voice to stir up trouble. This method has become even stronger since Baron started college at NYU. To stay close to him, Melania splits her time between Washington, D.C. and New York. Reports say she's also writing a biography and a behind-the-scenes documentary. These will both tell her story in her own words, not through the lens of gossip. For Melania, remaining quiet is a sign of strength, not weakness. There are many ways to twist words in this world, so she only speaks when it matters. She has created a mystery that's both well thought out and alluring in this way. The idea is stronger when there are fewer words. Her most moving speech yet, and why it still rings true today. Many people now consider Melania Trump's speech at the International Women of Courage Awards in Washington, D.C. on March 31, 2025, to be her most moving public address to date. This event continues to make waves in hearts and news stories. She didn't speak as a first lady or a famous person when she stood before a group of world leaders, activists, and survivors. Instead, she said she was a woman who had been through loss, love, and strength. Her steady but emotional voice broke a little when she talked about her mother's recent death and how she gave her the strength to stand tall in silence and lead with grace. The speech primarily focused on building strength through love. It included personal stories, such as a rare mention of Baron's quiet courage during tough times and Donald Trump's unwavering support behind the scenes. It wasn't just the material that made the moment memorable, it was the openness. For a woman often perceived as mysterious or distant, this speech shattered that mold by revealing a depth of belief and kindness that many people outside the room deeply felt. Videos of the speech quickly gained popularity, and both fans and critics agreed it was sincere. Some of the things she said are still being used in classes, lectures, and social media posts months after her remarks were made. It wasn't just a speech. It was a real moment that will live on. Simple, grounded, and surprisingly relatable. Melania Trump's morning routine. In 2025, Melania Trump's mornings don't start with a bang. but with quiet purpose. This indicates that she values privacy and balance amidst the chaos of public life. Every day begins around 6:30 a.m. She makes a healthy drink from spinach, carrots, blueberries, apple, orange juice, flax seeds, and a splash of olive oil, which is an old ingredient, but one she swears by for its anti-inflammatory properties. She does this at MaraLago or her home in Manhattan. She talked about this habit in a rare Facebook post earlier this year. It has become an essential part of her health routine, along with a short Pilates session or a walk around the estate's flower paths with ankle weights. Even though she has a high-profile job, Melania doesn't like fancy meals or bad habits. Instead, she prefers to keep things simple and consistent. She is said to spend the next hour reading European newspapers and handwritten notes from her staff, which are often written in Slovenian. If she's not in New York, she checks in with Baron via video call. Friends say she is very protective of this time and uses it to calm down before taking on the responsibilities of being First Lady or making public visits. Melania Trump's mornings are centered on health, peace, and reflection, while Donald Trump's mornings are filled with phone calls and meetings with the media. People can relate to this habit a lot. It's less about appearance and more about purpose, and it's quietly strong in its discipline. Melania Trump's silent message to the world, the dress that made history. Melania Trump stole the show on January 20th, 2025, when Donald Trump took the oath of office for his second term. She was wearing a navy and cream dress coat by Adam Lippis and a structured boater hat from Eric Javits. This outfit generated a lot of discussion right away, both for its classy appearance and for what it represented. The outfit, which was all one color, was meant to be a sharp contrast to the light blue Ralph Lauren coat she wore in 2017. It showed a change from traditional hope to serious resolve. People who work in the fashion industry noticed that she didn't wear any red or blue. They thought this was a subtle rejection of political color codes in favor of unity through neutrality. The sharp cutting and simple lines of the coat matched the First Lady's more private and controlled public appearance. But the hat, which was tilted just enough to cover her eyes, gave her an air of mystery that made things even more interesting. Later that night, at the Starlight Ball, she changed into a white column gown by Hervé Pierre with black graphic lines. This adhered to the black and white theme and underscored her message of power and control. Politicians and fashion experts alike agreed that Melania's outfit wasn't a mistake, even though she didn't comment on it publicly. She carefully chose a quiet message that conveyed a great deal about her job, her freedom, and her hopes for the next chapter of American history. A look at Melania's closest friends and the people she trusts the most. In 2025, Melania Trump's close friends and family remain very close and carefully selected. This demonstrates her prioritization of privacy and loyalty over public attention. People who know her well say she's never been more confident or involved behind the scenes, even though she maintains a low profile in public. Her best friends aren't in Washington, D.C. or New York. They're in Palm Beach, where she's built a small but intensely loyal group of close friends over the past 10 years. Some of these individuals are old friends from her modeling days, a childhood friend from Slovenia who now resides in Florida, and a few acquaintances from the Trump family's broader social circle. People who know Melania well say that she regularly hosts health workshops and afternoon teas at MaraLago. These events are free from the political press and include topics such as parenting and charity. She also often asks this group of people for help with her projects and public events, especially since she returned to the White House. Even though there are rumors that she stays out of politics, people who work for her say she has a quiet but powerful effect on Donald Trump's decisions and tone in small but significant ways. Her trusting relationships aren't based on power or strategy, but on shared ideals and a sense of being safe. In a world where relationships are constantly evolving, Melania's friendships provide a haven. They are stable, private, and not public. Melania Trump's quiet charities, how she helps people when no one is looking. Melania Trump is often at the center of state meals and other public events, but in 2025 she may have had the most lasting impact when she wasn't being filmed. Since her return to the White House, she has gradually expanded her Be Best initiative. It has a new name and a stronger focus on kids' internet safety. It also includes a program called Fostering the Future to help foster youth. Melania has also been directly funding grants for young women who are transitioning out of the foster care system. Many of them are attending school to earn degrees in hacking and digital ethics, which she believes are essential for protecting the next generation. The winners of these grants typically don't learn about the First Lady's participation until after they graduate. She also continues to give charities she has been involved with for a long time, such as the Red Cross, Wounded Warrior Project, and Love Our Children USA. Staff say Melania insists on sending handwritten letters to each charity she supports, often with personal notes of support. People don't usually hear about her charitable trips, and when she does, phones aren't allowed, and the press is turned away. Insiders say she does this on purpose because she thinks that good service doesn't need praise. In an era when politics is all about showmanship, Melania's charitable work is a quiet act of defiance, rooted in respect, discretion, and a strong sense of purpose. What seems to be her legacy is being built in whispers. Why Melania didn't say anything, and when she did. In Washington, D.C., Melania Trump's almost complete silence became one of the most talked-about secrets in the first half of 2025. There was considerable online discussion and concern about her absence from significant White House events, such as the signing of the Laken-Riley Act and meetings with foreign leaders, including King Abdullah of Jordan and Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba of Japan. The story gained strength when she wasn't at the Super Bowl or even at Donald Trump's 79th birthday parade, where she was briefly seen but didn't appear interested. Her social media accounts were empty for months, with only a single word of sympathy and a picture post. Then in June, Melania finally spoke out when she appeared unexpectedly at a youth mental health meeting in Miami. She delivered a concise yet powerful speech about the stresses of public life and the importance of setting personal limits. At times, she said, "Silence is not absence, it's self-preservation." Her voice was calm but passionate. The moment received a standing ovation, and it changed how people viewed things. Aides said that Melania had been dealing with the death of her mother and the stress of Baron starting college, which is why she chose to stay out of the public eye and focus on her family. Her coming back wasn't just a comeback, it was a message. In a world where everyone wants to be seen all the time, Melania reminded everyone that power can also be conveyed through whispers. What Melania said to Trump in 5 words and why they matter. On April 26, 2025, at Pope Francis's funeral in St. Peter's Square, numerous world leaders attended somber ceremonies. But a quiet moment between Donald and Melania Trump got more attention than any major speech. As the people in the church got ready for the sign of peace, Melania leaned in close and whispered to her husband, "You should go do it." Nicola Hickling, a professional lip reader, determined that the term was a soft push, indicating to Trump that he should shake hands with other leaders, such as Emmanuel Macron of France and Alexander Stubb of Finland. Trump was unsure at first, but he said, "Oh, okay," in a soft voice before standing to join the unity motion. This brief conversation revealed a different side of the man, who is accustomed to running rooms and controlling conversations. Melania's impact was subtle but clear. Body language experts described it as a sweet moment, noting that her quiet confidence helped Trump navigate a rare moment of weakness on the world stage. The whisper wasn't just about manners. It was also about trust, time, and the couple's secret language, having been watched closely for decades. That's all Melania had to say to remind Trump and everyone else that sometimes the most powerful moves are made without words, and history found its beat in that whisper. Perhaps you missed Melania's most moving moment in the White House. During the White House's annual Military Mothers celebration on May 8, 2025, Melania Trump delivered an incredibly personal and emotional speech that left even the most experienced political observers momentarily speechless. She talked openly with President Trump in the East Room, about how motherhood and getting older change over time, as well as the quiet strength needed to care for others while dealing with her loss. She talked about her mother's recent death, Melanias, and how she was the quiet architect of my courage. The speech, which wasn't shown on many TV stations, focused on the emotional toll of caregiving and the often overlooked strength of military mothers. She made a powerful connection between their sacrifices and her journey as a mother to Baron. She advised women to prioritize their health, saying, "Only by nurturing ourselves can we truly empower the next generation." The moment was made even more poignant when she left the podium to hug several mothers in the front row, an unexpected act that brought many people to tears. Although the speech wasn't as widely reported in the news due to other political stories, it has since gained popularity online. Parts of it are being shared in parenting groups and faith-based communities. The moment wasn't just moving for those who saw it. It changed them and showed them a First Lady with understanding, strength, and quiet beauty. In one day, we see what Melania does when she's by herself. In 2025, Melania Trump's private life is a picture of quiet rituals and purposeful privacy when the cameras are off and the news cycle has passed. Baron now lives in New York, and Donald is busy with his job as president or meetings at MaraLago. As a result, Melania has found a pace that is both thoughtful and fiercely independent. As a tribute to her roots, she usually starts her day with a walk through the private grounds of the White House's South Lawn. While she does this, she listens to classical music or Slovenian writing on her earpiece. After that, she goes to her study, which has been redone in soft neutrals and European simplicity. There, she writes in her diary, reads works by her favorite thinkers, and reviews drafts of her future children's book, which is scheduled for release in late 2025. She often spends the afternoons in the private salon in the East Wing, where she plans low-key trips to children's hospitals and foster homes with her stylist and charity counselors. She has also begun drawing with watercolors, and some of her work is reportedly being auctioned off this fall to raise money for charity. She most treasures the evenings, which she generally spends in the home's sunroom with herbal tea, letters from her mother written by hand, and a view of Washington City. People don't always understand Melania, but her private hours show that she lives a life of discipline, self-reflection, and a quiet power that you don't have to see to feel. Melania's letters to her younger self are strong, private, and poised. Melania Trump revealed a collection of handwritten letters to her younger self in a very personal section of her 2025 book. These letters have captivated readers, not for their political reveals, but for their quiet introspection and emotional clarity. The part is called Reflections, and it spans her childhood years in Slovenia, her early modeling days in Milan and New York, and concludes with her move to the White House. Each letter is dated and written in a tone that combines maternal wisdom with firm resolve. The letters offer advice on how to manage fame, maintain your privacy, and uphold your honor when you're constantly in the spotlight. "You will be seen, but not always understood," says a letter from 1996. Two letters from Melania to her younger self are widely discussed online. One from 2005, the year she married Donald Trump, tells her to speak less but mean more. Many people have praised her ability to stay calm under pressure while subtly asserting her independence. Literary reviewers have noted the influence of Eastern European writing, which is characterized by its simplicity, symbolism, and emotional restraint. She is known for being very private in interviews, but these letters offer a rare glimpse into her private life. They portray a woman who has long used silence not as a shield, but as a deliberate tactic. In a media world full of noise, Melania's quiet thoughts have become her most powerful message yet. What Melania believes most deeply and why she won't give up on it. In 2025, Melania Trump's firmest opinion is that real strength comes from love. She has said this many times and has lived her life quietly, even as the world around her has undergone significant changes in the political sphere. She said, "Love has inspired me to embrace forgiveness. foster empathy, and show bravery in the face of unforeseen obstacles at her 5th appearance at the International Women of Courage Awards this spring. This statement sums up her driving philosophy. People who don't know her well often think that her quietness means she doesn't care. But those who do say it's a deliberate choice and an act of strength, not a sign of withdrawal. She believes that values, not noise, are what earn people's respect, and she hasn't changed her mind about that, even when people have asked her to become more assertive in public. Her projects continue to focus on health and safety of children, the respect of women, and the quiet strength of kindness. She does all of this because she believes that love, not politics, is the most potent force that can change things. This view also influences how she raises her children, the people she associates with, and her interactions with Donald Trump behind closed doors. She has turned down opportunities that conflicted with her values, even if they would have made her more well-known. In a world that loves show, Melania's failure to give up on her deep-seated belief that love is strength is not only unusual, it's a big deal. She has become a force that doesn't scream, but echoes in her silence. The hidden side of Donald and Melania as a couple, a stronger bond than ever. In 2025, Donald and Melania Trump's relationship has slowly grown into something much more personal and stable than anyone thought possible. Small actions and shared moments speak louder than any campaign phrase. Since their 20th wedding anniversary in January, the couple has been seen together more often, not just at public events, but also in real, unplanned times that show their relationship is getting stronger. The person who reads lips caught Trump asking Melania, "Are you cold?" in a soft voice at the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary parade in June. A simple question that showed a tenderness that isn't often seen in the president. Later, he was heard calling her a baby as she sat down, which even his longtime assistants found strange. Body language experts have noticed a change in their relationship, saying that they are more mentally engaged and balanced with each other than they were during Trump's first term. The couple now has a connection that makes you feel like you can depend on each other and love each other again, whether they're going arm in arm at Pope Francis's funeral or smiling quietly during White House events. Insiders say Melania has become a comforting figure for Trump, mainly as he navigates the stresses of his second term and the challenges of aging. It doesn't look like they are as far apart as people thought they might be. Instead, their relationship seems to be one of quiet power, marked less by acting and more authenticity. A team transformed by time, trials, and trust.
If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon